start by putting on a beanie to get all the hair out of my face. I'll be moving on to primer, and the primer I'm using is Australis primer, the original. I'm using this to create an even, smooth, long-lasting base for the rest of my makeup. On foundation, I'm using W7 High Definition Foundation in the shade Buff. I'm just spot treating with this, so I'm going underneath my eyes and blending that out with my fingers. Then I'm moving on to blemishes. I'm not applying a full face of foundation to avoid any cakiness. Going in with a highlighter, I'm using Illuminator by Designer Brands, and I'm just applying this to the tops of my cheeks and once again blending out with my fingers. To set this all, I'm using natio's pressed powder in the shade Light. So I'm going over everywhere that I put foundation on, as well as the rest of my face, to create a little bit of coverage. Moving on to blush, I'm using Sugerbaby's Ticket to Beauty Bronze Have More Fun palette. I'm just using a pink highlighty shade in there, just onto my apples of my cheeks and a little bit onto my forehead, as I won't be doing any contour. Onto my eyes, I'm going to be using Elf's Eyelid Primer in the shade Sheer. This creates a really nice, even, long-lasting base for the rest of your eyeshadow. Going in with my Nude 3 by Byes Metallic and Metal eyeshadow palette, I'm using the shade Cream. It's a light shade, and as you can see, I've hit pan on it quite heavily. I'm just using it to set my eye primer and to create a nice, wide, open look. Now going in with the shade Espresso, I'm using that in my crease to add a little bit of definition. And creating a slight point towards the end of my eye. Moving on now to the shade called Taupe. I'm using this all over my lid and into my crease, just to blend everything out. Moving on to my City Lights by City Color palette, I'm just using a purple shade to create a sore-eyed look, which will help open up the eyes, make them appear bigger, and also really make blue eyes pop. So I'm applying that quite heavily to the underneath of my eye. Then I'm just applying it lightly to the top part of my eye. Going in with the same City Color palette, I'm just going to blend everything out. And then I'm going to add a small bit of highlighter. It's a very champagne-y shimmer shade, just to the inner corners of my eyes and on the top of my nose. Moving on to mascara, I'm using Australis Fierce Eyes volumizing mascara in the shade Jet Black. I'm just going to be applying 2 coats of that. I haven't curled my eyelashes, just to create a more droopy eye effect. I'm going to be moving on to eyebrows, and I'm going to be using the Nude Chery by Eyes. Once again, I'm using the shade Espresso with an angled brush. Now I'm just defining my natural eyebrow shape a little bit more and making it a little bit more volumizing. Once I'm finished that, I'm just going to brush it through with a spoolie to make sure all the hairs are nice and neat, also helping blending out the colors. Next, we're going to be using By's Velvet Lips liquid lipstick in the shade 01 Cherry Now. Just be careful when you're using liquid lipsticks, as it's very hard to clean up any mistakes. I'm going to be underlining my upper lip to create a different lip shape than I would normally go for, just fixing up any little mistakes. And we're finished. Moving on to hair, literally all I do is I just brush it, and that's that. Thank you so much for stopping by my video, and I will see you in my next one.